Hi everyone, my name is Gwyneth. Welcome to my channel. This is me on a good hair day, trying to pose for the camera in the least awkward way possible. In this video, you're going to learn how I used makeup to transform myself into this doofus. Yeah, I guess this is what being masculine means to me. Yeah, okay. But seriously, my goal is to teach you about masculine contouring. No matter what your gender is, if you're interested in makeup or you're a performer, these are important concepts to know. By the way, in the comments, I want you to tell me what celebrity you think I look like. I'm leaning toward Daniel Radcliffe, but I'm not sure. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can learn more about theatrical makeup. This is the best diagram I've seen that demonstrates key differences in masculine and feminine contouring. Feel free to use it as a reference. All right, let's dive into the demo. First, I'm going to start off by removing this makeup. I want to start with a clean slate. I'm using a Makeup Designery cream palette that I've customized for my skin tone. I have some of my foundation colors and concealers, highlights, and contours. I'm starting with the lighter of the two shadow colors in my contour kit to do the outline of the shape underneath my cheekbone that I want to create. This is a very similar shape to the one I used in my beginning stage makeup tutorial video using Ben Nye, which I'll link down below, except I've curved this shape a little bit more. It's less of a right angle, and I'm starting the cheekbone a bit higher on my face to give myself really chiseled Henry Cavill type cheekbones. And now I'm going in with a darker contour color just to give it a little more depth to transition from the medium shadow to the darker shadow. Now this section by the eyes is especially important if your eyes aren't as deep set as mine are. The shadow from the brow bone to the nose will really give your face a masculine look, especially if your face is flatter and you don't have a prominent brow bone. The last time I played a man on stage, I made my nose as straight as possible, but in this case, I'm also using Henry Cavill as a reference. Well, I'm not actually looking at the picture while I'm doing it. It probably would be more accurate if I was, but I'm just using that curved shape at the top of his nose just for inspiration. There is no one right way to have a male face shape, obviously. So in this case, I'm just being inspired with what's on my mind these days, and that is The Witcher. So you'll see that I'm creating sharp lines around my eyes, my nose. It's all about structure and sharpness with masculine faces. Okay, here I'm just covering some of my blemishes. I didn't want to start the makeup look with a clean foundation everywhere because some subtle imperfections does make your face look more masculine than being flawless like, an Instagrammer. But I thought the red blemishes were especially noticeable, so I'm covering those up as well as some under eye circles and some redness around my eyes that I got from rubbing my makeup off. I'm not going too in-depth with the coverage. So you also saw that I added a shadow along my forehead, and now I'm starting to add highlights in the high parts of my face. When you think of highlights and contours, you are creating a shape on your face. So the darker shadows are receding and the highlights are protruding out. So I'm pretty much restructuring my face using highlights and shadows. Here I'm painting on a chin dimple, which I just thought would be fun, and I'm squaring off the bottom of my chin so it doesn't come to such a strong point. I'm not contouring a bunch around my jawline because I have a strong jawline, but if you don't, you definitely want to add a shadow along the jaw and a highlight as well. Highlighting along the tops of my cheeks. Now remember, it's important to not just have a highlight and a dark. You want to leave some skin tone in between so that it's light, medium, and then dark. You want to see the curve, the roundness of the cheeks. It's not a square. Think of it like a transition color. I'm lightening along my jaw, but like I mentioned earlier, I didn't feel the need to add a shadow along the bottom of my jaw. Just the highlight I thought would do. That shadow at the top of my nose also gives you a protruding brow bone look. That's not necessary. I could have done a highlight from between my eyebrows all the way down to the tip of my nose, but some men have a very noticeable shadow right there between their eyebrows at the top of their nose. So I thought I would try that look today. Now I'm just stepping away from the mirror so I can analyze it from further away. That's really important to do, especially if you're doing this for the stage. Which, I mean, let's be honest, this is pretty dramatic. You probably wouldn't walk around like this in day-to-day life. But if you are wanting to do something similar to this for day-to-day life, You can use these exact same techniques, just tone them down so the contrasts aren't quite so high, the lights aren't so light, and the darks aren't quite so dark. All right, so to me, my eyebrows look especially masculine when they are straight up and down in the middle. There's no curve, so they're kind of squared off in the center. I started with a brown eyeliner pencil and tried to remove some of the arch to my brow by extending it outward. And now I'm going in with an angle brush just to smudge and move around the color so they look more like hair-like strokes instead of thick eyeliner lines. Trying to make the ends feather out so they look more wispy and hair-like. You don't have to extend your eyebrows as far as I did. I just thought it would help make them look a little straighter and less arched. The brows were starting to look a little smudgy and just all over brown, so in order to see the hair-like strokes and definition more, I decided to go in with a Bobbi Brown black gel eyeliner and a really fine tip brush to do little hair-like strokes, because you know how men often have scraggly hairs, they don't tweeze as precisely as women do, or if at all, and so I'm going in and giving my eyebrows more dimension so it actually looks like hairs instead of big bushy brown blobs. Now, technically, I could stop here, but there's nothing like some 5 o'clock shadow to make your face look extra masculine. So I took out my black stipple sponge, and the darker of the two contour colors, I really like it because it has a little bit of a bluish undertone, and that's really what 5 o'clock shadow looks like. So I want to do really subtle 5 o'clock shadow just along the upper lip and the bottom of my chin. And then to give it extra dimension, I'm taking the brown eyeliner pencil that I use on my eyebrow and that fine-tipped brush that I used to do eyebrow strokes, and I'm just adding a few more dots in between the gray stipple sponge mustache to just give it a little bit more dimension and depth. Hair is never one color. There's usually a lot of different colors, and adding highlights and shadows to the stubble makes it look more realistic and 3D. Fun fact, in high school, I played a man in a show, and they wanted us to glue on mustaches, and they were so itchy that I ended up using makeup to do my mustache, and I used 2 different color eyebrow pencils and did hair-like strokes along the top of my lip, and it looked super realistic. I actually think it looked better than the girls who used a glue-on mustache. So if you apply it just right, it can look really real, at least from the audience's perspective. I'm contouring my temples now. This is also a technique used in age makeup. So I'm darkening the little circles at the temple. You can also add highlights along the top as well. All right, folks, this is the completed look. What do you think? Am I gorgeous? No, but seriously, how well do you think I passed? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to tell me which male celebrity is my doppelganger.